Hello?
Yep. Hey.
Yo. So it looks like my first time coaching you. Is that correct?
Yep. You coach one of my best personal friends, Ice Ben or Nick. So uh,
Oh, okay. Cool. So give me a second here. Um, okay. How far to the stream are we? 646, coaching session. So what's your MMR?
about 2000.
3,000?
2000.
2,000. Okay. And then you play what role?
Primarily P4, P5, IQ for both.
Okay. So support 2,000. So I should probably just pull up my calendar because you were probably forced to fill that in. Let's see. So you okay? Not much else there. So what are you looking to get out of this session?
Um, well, I honestly just played for a little while, but just started to kind of watch your stream and start paying a little more attention to some of the more detailed mechanics. I mean, seems stupid, but the little stuff that I never paid attention to, such as the timings of runes, power runes, other stuff like that. So I think I've gotten a lot better in the laning stage. I'm trying to figure out what to do a little better as the game progresses. I hear you often in my head saying just push waves a lot. And so I play a lot of Hoodwink. So I do well when I have a hero like that where I can go easily clear waves. But then, kind of about mid game, I start to struggle and drop off a little more, really until I tend to get about a scythe. And then about then, I feel like my impact picks up again. But trying to figure out a little better of my itemization. Sometimes what I need to do in those games that you're talking about where things don't go right, I need to get better at kind of when to leave the lane, when to engage in bad fights, just because my team's there versus go do something else. And then, also I'm 2000 MMR, so there's probably 55 other things I'm doing wrong that I don't even know I'm doing wrong. So
Sure.
I'll just say I don't know what I don't know.
So let me just pull these. I'm going to copy paste your message from the other chat into this one for simplicity's sake. I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to pull up your first replay. So it says, we ultimately won, but it kept swinging back and forth. What should I do differently mid to end game to help this? I usually struggle mid game. I think I probably just need to start shadowing my cores more. Okay, you are Hoodwink. Okay.
And so a couple of things I did I did a pretty major key reworking about 2 months ago. I'm kind of past that, but still every now and then we'll have some misclicks. But
Was there a reason for that, or?
um, just again, after watching more videos and kind of actually starting to drill down into mechanics a little more, I've realized there's better ways of doing things. I just set my skills based upon individual heroes as opposed to just having one set of skills for all heroes. Some are quick cast, some I pulled off quick cast. So just again, not knowing what I didn't know.
Gotcha. So let's go ahead and get into the game. I think your number one job in this lane to consider every single game is securing range creeps, or like what you're gonna do for the carry in regards to the range creep. So I just asked myself, my carry, so basically I'm paying attention in lane whether or not my carry is gonna get the range creep, whether or not his hero's good at getting the range creep, why not, why or why not. So basically, Morphling has no way of securing range, level 1, unless he were to take Adaptive Strike, which most Morphlings will not. So I would have strongly considered leveling Acorn Shot and just being more cautious here, not getting myself stuck in something like this. At nighttime, I just don't walk up hills pregame. Just don't do this where you walked up this hill. Either sit on a hill, or once you've gone onto the low ground, just accept that that hill's scary as fuck, unless you have a ward on it. So, just really important. So, like, you either camp here, you camp here, you can camp right here, but never, like, go down and then back up. Or, like, down and then back up. You know? Don't do that early game. That's how you run into these situations that you just had happen. Like, you probably had to level this to save yourself. But the thing is, you skilled this minute 0. Like, you skilled this at, like, 130 pregame. So, I think a lot of players pre-skill. They just assume there's always a skill that's better than the other, but that's almost never the case. There's, like, probably 20 heroes in Dota that take the same spell every game regardless of what happens. The other ones have variants.
Is there a good way?
What?
Do you communicate early with... I find that if I try to take any creeps, even in it's very obvious that my core is not going to hit it. It's amazing how fast they seem to tilt.
If your core is not going to hit the creep and you're taking it and they get mad at you, then you mute them and move on. Like, that is just unreasonable, and that is your only solution. Like, if you're just, like, straight up yoinking the creeps in front of his face, it's very different. But, like, if the range creep's over here and your Morphling's back here not even trying to hit it and you nuke it and he gets mad at you, then you just mute him. Like, I'm telling you guys, like, that's just completely unreasonable for him. So, whenever somebody tells me something, there's times where, generally, if I'm in a good headspace, if anybody speaks to me in a toxic manner, I mute them. But if they speak to me in a toxic manner, I do ask myself, do they have merit to this? Like, yesterday I was having a tough game as Bat Rider, and my teammate was, in a very non-helpful way, telling me to buy a Blink and Blink lasso somebody. And I'm like, this guy's being really toxic, but he's probably right, so I queued up a Blink. So I muted him, but then I queued up a Blink and tried my best, right? But, like, in this case, like, you just have to ask yourself, is he being reasonable with his flame? Like, are you actually stealing his creeps? I'm just telling you that I've played a lot of Dota. I've gone through these deliberations a lot. When I'm in a good headspace, I do my own thing. When I'm in a bad headspace, I let my teammates' toxicity make me play worse. And if your teammates are being toxic towards you for something, the only thing you can do is ask yourself if they have merit. If they do, you adjust your play accordingly, and you can still feel free to mute them. If they don't, you have to mute them, and if they break their items, then so fucking be it. Like, don't negotiate with fucking terrorists. Like, this is insane. It's, like, not your fault. It's, like, not anybody who's watching's fault, but, like, it just needs to be dropped. Like, if these guys want to break their fucking items, then let him break his fucking items because you nuked a range creep that he wasn't going to get. Okay? Like, just...
Got
it. It's no fucking skin off your back or whatever, skin off your teeth or whatever it is.
That was a bad positioning. I'm mad at myself. I should have ever run up where I could get trapped, and should have at least had my morph also cut a tree there too before.
No. So what happened here is that you aren't monitoring the creep wave. So the reason why I have everybody do CS Trainer, and you should do it too, just go to the Learn tab, Tier 3 CS Trainer, is because monitoring the creep wave and how it's pushing or not is incredibly important at all times. If the enemy has more creeps than you, then you need to be more defensive, because the lane's going to push into you. Creeps are really strong level 1. Any engagement we take when the lane's pushing into us is not good, because the enemy has more creeps. So what happens is your Morphling blocks the lane, such that the range creep dies right at the start. So that means the lane's pushing into this guy's tower. So my thought right here is, as long as this ogre does not draw aggro to this range creep, I pretty much don't have to be here at all, because the lane's going to push straight into my tower, Morphling's going to get CS under tower just fine, and we're going to be good from there. So all I'm thinking when I look at this lane is, already pushed in, I might come over and nuke this range, but otherwise I'm just going to hit the punch. But that's something you can recognize at any point. You should be knowing what this lane is doing at every single moment in the lane. You should be aware of it. So the fact that the lane's pushing into you, but then you walk in like this, it's not because you're getting yourself sandwiched. It's because you're walking in aggressively as your creep wave's dying. I need this to be your guide. This needs to guide your positioning in lane. So if you don't let that guide your decision making, then this is what happens.
You're a tree hugger.
Okay. You're gonna deward. So you didn't block hard camp against Pudge. That's generally pretty bad. At least I don't think you did.
I did right at the
start.
You
did. Never mind. Somehow it wasn't showing on the map. Never mind, you did. Good job. So you dewarded small. You're gonna deward again. Back to lane. This all seems fine. Nice stun. Very nice. So this is where you are supposed to immediately register that you're either gonna dive them and keep going, or you're gonna pull. So I think you're gonna be late to pull. So probably you can just stick around and deny some creeps.
Is it too early to try to... In my head, I was thinking, hey, let's try to get some free hits on the tower while
that doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, it doesn't
okay.
fucking matter. So you went back to pull. Whatever you're doing over here, you can just stay in lane until 340. You can just stay in lane.
I'm about to have a mental... I'm about to have a pretty big mental lapse, and I'm trying to stack them at the pull time. I get it, still get it off.
I see. Yeah, it's just you left the lane here like 10 seconds early. I wanted you in lane for another like 10 seconds.
There is little hope for Dire's middle tower. Radiant structures are fortified.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the fact that you're blocking their pull and using your pull is very good. These are all good things. Having better pull cam management basically just wins you the lane.
A gift from the tempest of battle. Radiant's courier has been slain in cold blood.
Okay. You did ward right on top of a ward, but such is life. You're gonna walk back towards top. Okay. Okay. So I would say at this point, Morphling's pretty chill. You can do whatever you want. You can stay here. You can and pull, or you can leave and go to other lanes. So I think my issue is I have no idea what's going on mid currently. So my issue is that Morphling is perfectly fine, and so I would want you to recognize Morphling's perfectly fine, and I just need to see what's going on here. I have absolutely no clue.
That is something I'm because I just started paying more attention to a lot more of the details of the mechanics, the timings and stuff. I'm become less proficient at just glancing around the map more frequently and having overall map awareness because of I'm not quick and fast at doing all the multiple things I need to do yet.
Okay, I see. Yeah, totally fine. It's expected. You know, you can't be pushing all limits at once. For the sake of the coaching session, I'm just going to tell you what you need to do, and it's understandable if you can't, like at the current moment. But at any point that I recognize, generally when I get a breath of fresh air, it's like, okay, you know, my Morphling's farming under tower, things are pretty chill. I'm going to go pull this camp, and then once the camp is pulled, I have like 5 seconds to... Like, once I aggro the camp from here to here, that's like 5 seconds where I know exactly what's going to happen. This lane's going to lock to here, the creep wave's going to come here, it's going to chase it back into the camp, and that's like 5 seconds to go look around.
Makes sense.
So, generally speaking, if I can predict exactly what's going to occur in the next 5 to 10 seconds, like, say, you were helping in lane, and you got some kills, like at, so say you walked over at the right time, right? You got these kills. What you're doing is walking over here, you know? So you're shopping, which is great, but you should definitely look at the other lanes right now. Like, I should just be looking around and seeing, like, what's going on in these other 2 lanes. So you could just see, like, okay. That's a little bit of information for you. It's like, sometimes you're going to look here, this guy's level 5 and this guy's level 3, and you're like, what? You know, sometimes that just happens,
But just playing that scenario out, because that's a good example of where I said I need help, is when things aren't going right. Would I then just kind of start hovering more towards mid, more around the runes, making sure, just start putting all my resources mid to make sure he starts squaring up, or what would the right course be if in that instance I look over and he's 1 level down?
The number one question I ask myself is the impact that I currently have in my own lane. So if I feel like my lane will be about the same if I were to leave it, meaning Morphling will free farm, then I will look to leave it. An example of this that applies to cores that I've been messing up recently because of, honestly, mainly frustration, is that when I'm having a really good lane, is basically the better my lane is as a core, the less likely I am to leave it. It's like, if I'm just absolutely free farming, I can do whatever I want in my lane, the odds of whatever's happening in the game being better than that is low. For you, though, the better your core is without you. Okay, how would I word this? There's like a scale. If your core is completely fucking useless no matter what you do, then you should leave. If your core is incredibly strong, regardless of what you do, then you should leave as well. If there's anywhere in the middle, then you're kind of like, maybe I'm going to walk away and be ready to TP back. Maybe I'm, people ask this all the time, like, what happens when my other lanes are losing? So I always just ask as a support, I ask myself, when do I think my core is okay without me anymore? And the minute that I recognize that is when I start considering rotating or like going to other lanes. The fact is, like, if my mid laner is getting shafted, but my safe lane needs me, say I'm like undying and my safe laner's a drow, and if I leave the lane, he's going to get ran at, but if I stay in lane, he's like free farming. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to stay in this lane regardless of what happens mid. I just need to stay here. But like in your case, it's like Morphling's farm is pretty secured at this point. Ogre's level 3. Morphling is like almost level 5. We can start considering other things. So when you see that people are losing their lanes, it just means there's going to be pressure there. Like there's going to be, like, your tower is going to take damage. Your guy needs your help potentially. The trades are going to be inefficient. Usually if they bring a support to that lane, the other team, then your guy's going to die. So there's just like bad things are going to happen in that lane. Like you just got to be ready for bad things to happen. Every game it's different. Maybe it's your guy's going to die. Maybe his tower's going to die. But if you're not looking, it doesn't fucking matter any of this. Like what you understand about the game, it just doesn't matter because you're not gathering the information that you need to gather. So
makes sense. Step one.
Yeah, step one would be to always just look. If you can recognize, hey, my guy doesn't really need me anymore, and that makes you check other lanes with your camera, that's like an amazing first step. All right. So it's like you left your lane for a bit, so I can tell in your play that you kind of like think he doesn't need you here. But then you're like, oh, what are these guys doing? And then you come back. Cool. Like, you came and bullied the ogre away. And then, like, here's the moment where you're supposed to check the lanes again. I just want to see what's happening here. So Rubik's like, this lane's consistently pushed into my guy's tower. Clinks is down by like a level. I see this. I'd see like, oh, this guy's like half HP, Rubik's full HP. Like, I would see this, And so there's just some crazy shit going on over here. And so it's just something we'd have to be aware of happening. But the thing is, you just got 2 kills top. So such is life. Like, you were doing something pretty impactful in your own lane. Because Ogre and Pudge are for some reason overplaying when they're losing. But that's fine. You punish them for it. So we see bottom lane. You know your guy's fine, so you TP here. Be patient. Don't show yourself. Be patient. Be patient. Oh, no. Don't show. Never mind. Do it for the creeps. Never mind. Too many creeps. So your guy got forced to TP back home. I always tell people if they go to the off lane, just plant a sentry here. Just make it a habit. Try to make it a habit to have one. You did the hard part of having one. Just make sure you plant it. It's just so bad if you TP down here and they just know you're there and you're like trying to hide or you're trying to set up a gank and they just know you're there. It's just like, it just sucks. Even if they have no wards and people in your bracket never lane ward, it's just in your best interest to do that. Okay, so came bottom. Killed that guy. I don't think Morphling should have died top. Probably on him there. Hold it into your small camp to get the lane push. That's pretty good. It's a cool little maneuver there. Doing some pressure on here.
This is bad.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm just like, I started to run away, but saw him go. I'd say probably a third to half of my deaths are this, where your gut's telling you don't go, but then you're just like, all right, we're in it.
I mean, you know what the answer is, so like, why are we having a coaching session?
Uh, I'm stubborn, I guess.
Do you need me to tell you? Like, do you need me to put it out there?
No, I just need
Like,
to do
do you need me to tell you that, like, you need to be an independent thinker and be able to judge for yourself the degree of how good this play is? It's like, ah, that guy's fucking dead, and just walk away. Like, that's the thought that should go through your head right now. Well, this guy's fucking dead. See ya. Every man for himself. I'd probably, like, throw a bushwhack on the ogre and then hope for the best from there. You know, I would just run away and hope that was enough. But, like, going in and, like, fighting with him is... It's really bad if you guys feed 3 heroes instead of 1. It's, like, a really big difference.
Even to your point, regardless, watching that, where I went in, I just went right up the gut instead of,
Well, you weren't even, like, you weren't even, like, conservative about helping.
No, we'll just pretend that second didn't happen there.
Yeah. Okay. I think you overvalue hitting towers in general. This is just not really a thing, what you're doing.
I just hoodwink, I'm not good at it, but...
You're just like, you're also just like, you don't have a catapult, you're not a hero that does a lot of damage to towers, you're against heroes that can catch you like Disruptor. I mean, it's just very low probability of being good for you to hit towers as a support like this. So it's like, when you get this kill on this Pudge, just walk away. Like, literally walk towards mid now. Because what I would need you to do is immediately check the map. Usually when I have this happen, I back up a little bit and immediately check the map for something to do. Because usually if you bring 3 heroes to one lane, something bad is happening in another lane. That's generally how it goes. Because if you're 3v1 this guy, then there's probably some 2 or 3v1 going on somewhere else in favor of the opponent. So, you know, I would check... What?
Question for you. There's 3 of them showing on the map. We've got 1 killed. Why would all 3 of us... I mean, I get me. Why would all 3 of us not try to... And we've got a pretty good creep wave with us. Try to push this.
Because it's just not a thing in Dota to kill this tower.
Okay. So the bot just focus on the bottom one versus take the hits for the top.
Yeah, the thing is that you have to think that whatever the opponent's doing in the game, they can't get here in any way to hit this tower. Like, they've TP'd 3 heroes here. That's your cue to, like, hit this tower.
Yes.
That's the cue. Like, you literally know that it is not in their power to show up at this tower. So you can dive it and shit. That's the only time I'll ever make a play on this tower, is when I know the opponent doesn't have resources or TPs to be able to even be here in the first place. So I'm just diving some guy or killing their tower because they can't do anything about it. But, like, if they have the ability to show up here, if you have not caused them to do something else on the map, you just never hit this tower. It's just not a thing. It applies for other towers in the sense that if, like, they're not forced to react to anything else, if they're just, like, all missing, or, like, not even all missing, they could just TP to you at any time, then yeah, you just don't make this play. I mean, the thing is like, if Drow had a TP, maybe your play ends up being worse, or like, all Dota is just like the expected value of a play, and hitting this tower unless all of them unless all of them TP'd bottom is just a really low EV play at like every situation. So you can kind of just, for the short term, just trust me on this and drop that thought and stop hitting this tower. You did it at like 340, did it at now. Just stop. Like, it seems like so simple, but the thing is, I'm seeing a lot of things you're doing that are really good. You know, even just like dragging this creep wave to this camp and, you know, making sure you're blocking this and stacking this and pulling it. Like, a lot of these little things are really good. Like, you clearly care about doing the right things in the game. Just don't clog it up with the random bullshit that I promise you is wrong. Like, just don't clog it up. So what I need you to do that you're not doing is checking other lanes when you're done with what you're currently doing. Morphling's all good? Sick. Like, at the 6-minute mark, let's go check other lanes. Got a kill on Pudge? BSJ told me I'm never fucking hitting this tower. What else is there to do in the game? Like, that's the question you should immediately ask yourself when you get this kill. Like, what else is going on? Like, the sooner you ask yourself that question and register what it is and then do something about it, the higher MMR you are. Okay, so you get this kill. If you can ask yourself in the next, like, 2 seconds, you're pretty damn good. You know, if it takes you 5 initially, that's fine. But, like, if you want to put a fucking sticky note on your monitor that says, I just got a kill, 3v1, what next? You know? So what should happen here is, oh, I guess I'm going to walk towards mid now. You know? That's what, like, oh, it's 12 minutes. Oh, there's a power rune spawning. Oh, they're pressuring my clinks. Oh, you know? I'm going to run towards mid now. Like, I would just want your pathing to be like this, because there's also a bounty rune here. Like, that's all the that's like a perfect thought process based on time, events, and position of you on the map. Right? That's the perfect thought process. Like, the thing is, that's something that in my bracket I would be expected to start immediately. Like, I would immediately start walking this way while I'd recognize, like, I'm not doing anything here, so I'm going to walk towards this direction. I would see mid, I would start walking towards the bounty rune with all this in mind, and that's, like, instantaneous. The thing that people don't understand is your bracket's the same fucking thing as mine. You can do it with, like, a 10-second delay, and it'll still be good enough to win you games. Okay? You can do it way slower. You have way more time to process the right decision and have it be good. Okay? It's just, we gotta focus on you doing the right thing. So get kills, have your guy be okay in lane, whatever tells you that you're currently done where you are right now. Like, we're done here, you know? It's like when your tiny feeds bottom, that's a cue of, like, we're done here. You know? Time to back off and look at the map. The thing is, if they 4-man gank your tiny, instead of it being like, okay, so in this case, you guys 3-man gank the Pudge, right? So your thought should be, what else is the opponent team doing that I might need to counter? Because they have numbers somewhere else. If your tiny feeds like an idiot but brings 4 heroes to him, your thought should be, what opportunities are there somewhere else? Because maybe we have like a 2v1, or I could create a 2v1. You know, I could maybe TP mid and help my clinks get the rune, or something like that. You know, like, that's an opportunity. It's like, okay, we're done here. My tiny's just feeding. It's like the same idea as this. It's like, a good thing happened. We're done here. Move on. I feel like what I'm seeing, good or bad, is you're just glued to whatever you're currently doing way too much. Like, you're all in, you know, your guy goes deep, whatever the fuck, you join him, you know, you guys get a kill in front of a tower. You're like, I'm going to push it, you know? No. Like, we're done here.
I think that's a good way of phrasing that. Is I do think I am too focused on the current task first. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, so my number one, like, thing that you can think about in your games that is it's a hard realization to get in the habit of. Like, it's a hard habit, but wow, it's pouring rain outside. I love rain. So what I'm saying is, though, like, what is making you do the play you're currently doing? What defines it as over? Okay? That is a question that goes very deep in terms of knowledge of the game and, like, what that means to an individual player. But I just feel like it isn't being asked, like, you're not asking the question to yourself at all. Like, you're not really considering when the play you're making is currently over. So it's like, when am I done helping my guy in the laning phase? When am I done pushing this tower? It's like, when am I done helping this lane? And it's like, if you went to mid lane because you saw your tower taking damage, you would be done when you think the tower's fine. Right? You'd be done when you feel like the opponent's no longer pressuring the tower because you knew you went there in the first place. So it's like, if you went to push bottom tower and you did it because, you know, you wanted to take the tower and then your tiny dies, you know, in hindsight, do you think you're still taking the tower after your tiny dies? And it's like, probably not. So if your goal was to take the tower and somebody on your team dying changes that, then you're kind of like, I'm done here. I'm out of here. You know, somewhere to go now, somewhere else to go. You know, and Dota's a lot of this. Dota's a lot of, like, flipping, flopping on the map and figuring out, like, you know, because, like, you have to know not only what you're doing, but what you're going to do afterwards. Like, what's the next step after it's done? Usually I just think until the next thing, you know, like, once the play I'm making I feel like is over, then my next thought goes on. And so that transition period just needs to be a bit faster for you. Or start it all, I guess. So, more of a fluid thinking, I would say. I feel like you're kind of like a tad robotic, I guess, with the way you think about the game. Maybe there's a better word for it, but that's what comes to mind. Okay, so we get a kill on that guy. Same thing here, just leave. You did like an extra lap. You know, you did the whole, like, so you get this kill.
Maybe my finger got twitchy.
You're like, okay, we're not chasing, after you guys kill this guy, you're like, okay, we're not chasing the Pudge. And now you just do, like, a nice little lap. I just want you to just do this. You know? Nice little lap.
Yeah.
Same thing. So the thing is, you ended this play, but you got to mid lane, what, 10 seconds late? That's 4 creeps that you just missed. Right? Imagine if you were here 5-10 seconds earlier, right? That's 2 creeps.
Definitely.
2 creeps right there.
Well, ain't this
That's what it was,
cute?
2 creeps. Every time you, like, waste a little bit of time, there's just something you're missing. Sometimes it's 1 or 2 creeps, sometimes you're a bit late to a fight, sometimes your tower takes a bit of damage, like, there's all types of things that can happen. I don't like the smoke. I think it could have just been you guys just walking. You went from, like, outpost to... Yeah, it just wasn't very far, so I think you could have just walked. Okay, so you... I mean, this time you were like, okay, we're done here. Time to go push a lane.
With my thanks.
You ward behind tower again. Yeah, you're not even looking at mid. It's like a pretty big deal to me. You definitely don't look at other lanes very much. You kind of mentioned why, though. Okay, Morphling feeding. What can you do? Okay. So it's really important to note that I'll ask you. I'll actually ask you what you think. When the enemy kills this Morphling, what are they going to do? Like, after this.
Start roaming our jungle, or kind of maybe go to triangle area, fall back, farm creeps, or push our tower.
Okay, so we're just going to assume that they're not going to make a garbage play, because garbage plays, you know, if they do it, we know it's garbage and we'll be able to counter it. Like, sure, we'll be ready for it, but, like, they're not going to push your tower, is what I'm saying. So if they do push your tower, you can be like, what the fuck are they doing? And we can talk about that afterwards. But the main things they're going to do that are good are they're going to either back off and farm, like they're going to have one guy go farm this, one guy go farm mid, and maybe one guy farm through the jungle. Or they're going to, like, continue hunting, right? That's, like, the 2 things they're going to do. They're going to snowball this into more kills, or they're going to go back off and farm. Those are the only 2 good things for them to do. Let's be clear about that. So what do both of those things have in common? The answer is that they fucking leave. Right? So the thing is, if they stay here to push your tower, what I need you to understand about why it's so bad, especially in this case, is for them to take this tower, they need this wave to be pushed, like, all the way here. You're going to have, like, 50 seconds to respond to them pushing this tower. You see that, right? Like, you just have...
Yeah.
You have an eternity to respond to them pushing that tower. So we have to think about, like, what we're going to respond to first, like, or, like, what they could do immediately. So it's like, if they're going to do this, and they're going to do, like, go farm this, and they're going to go do, and then, like, one guy's going to farm the jungle, and one guy's going to farm this, or they're going to run into your triangle, what do you actually think your best option is? Like, what would you like to do about these things? I'm actually curious, like, what comes to mind for you? You know, it's just a hypothetical, like, what comes through your head if I tell you that's what they're going to do.
I think, well, 17-13, I could go stack the triangle. There's currently vision on him.
You can't stack the triangle. You got to wait 40 seconds for that.
Run mid, get creeps.
Okay, so, interesting. So what I'm hearing from what I said is that they're going to leave this area. So what do I want to do? I want to make them come back. So I'm going to play on the fact that I have a ward. I'm going to walk very elusively down this lane, and then I'm going to kill the next creep wave that gets pushed because somebody on their team is going to farm this.
Got it.
That's what I'm going to do. So basically, what I'm saying is your options are to push the wave that's mid, or really nothing else. There's, like, literally nothing else in the game for you to be doing right now.
Well, as a HUD too. As a HUD, as a hoodwink, I think I totally agree with you that I'm better to be in the trees bottom, harassing and keeping the wave pushed first, letting other heroes who can farm mid better or safer.
So yeah, if you lose a hero, usually you want to think about what the opponent's going to do and dodge it. That's, like, almost, like, exactly how to think about it. So it's like, if I think they're going to push this tower based on whatever they're doing, I would usually assume that I'm supposed to like TP mid and push this immediately. You know, that's like what I would do. I'm going to do whatever I assume is the opposite of what I think they're going to do. So if I think what I'm telling you in this situation, their good play is to farm this, and go farm the jungle, what that tells me is they're all going to leave. So I'm going to do this. Like, if you really think about it, none of them have any reason to be in this area. So... you can go there.
And we also have vision on him currently through charge.
Yeah, you also have a ward. You placed a ward that helps you there. So you're leaving a ward, you're letting them separate, and then the lane bottom doesn't get pushed. This would just be all your farm down here. This is all you. You actually ended up sitting in triangle AFK for about 30 seconds. That was what you did. Yep, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you, this literally isn't a thing. You're not allowed to do this. This isn't a thing. Stop it. You've done it like 3 times this game. So I just need to tell you that you need to be more creative. If you find yourself retreating on the map and AFKing, you are supposed to advance somewhere. That's like the #1 rule of thumb for you moving forward, okay? So like in this case, when you walked over here at 3:30 and then you stood there, it was because the only reason to walk over here was to pull at 3:45. Right? So that means you could have been over here for 15 seconds. That was in the laning phase, right? So it's like the same thing here. If you're sitting here for 30 seconds, then you could have been down here for 30 seconds bare minimum. Like you could have been somewhere on the other team's side of the map doing something. So a lot of people default to just retreating to their side of the map when they have no idea what to do. What people don't realize is that you're supposed to go where you think they're not going to go. So I obviously play way too much Dota, so I told you exactly what they were going to do, right? But I need you to now see the trends in your games. If I'm telling you to get this kill on Pudge and immediately leave, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what they're supposed to do. So that's what they did. They immediately started hunting the tiny top. And it's very predictable. These are good plays. Like, they're actually making the correct play. People think that 2K Dota is, like, insanely different than mine. It's usually just, like, the only difference is that this guy has fucking, like, this guy was like Brown Boots, Oblivion Staff. That was his items. Like, the difference between your games and mine is that you have people like this. like what? Like, that's the difference. You know? That's the difference in your games. Most of the decisions are very similar. So yeah. Anytime you find yourself AFKing like this, plant yourself, or like, you can literally review it. Like, take a note, have a notepad next to you and say, I stood still for 30 seconds at 17:20, you know, and just like go watch the game back and, you know, think about how you could have advanced on the map, you know? It could be anywhere. Like, if you see them all end up being top, then maybe you could have walked this way. But like, yes, if you're a hoodwink, you're much more likely to play side lanes. I want you to be glued to side lanes. Your hero is insanely good at playing side lanes. So don't, like, you want to be away from mid as often as possible on this hero, specifically. So, and I'm sure, like you said, you knew that because you said you like to be on the trees anyways. So yeah, if you were like pushing out bottom this whole time and just being a nuisance, you probably have like an extra 700 gold, 2 creep waves. It's a pretty good amount. The thing is that you push in this bottom creep wave and you TP back to your team and make the exact same play you just made. So like, that's a good play. I don't need you to hug your team's dick for the minute before that, right? I need you to be alone, advancing on the map, playing your annoying game, and make this exact same play. So if you're playing bottom to clear a creep wave, what you're doing then is you're clearing the creep wave, and if you see a play to be made on the map, you go TP somewhere, and you're like, okay, I'm done here. If you don't see a play, then you wait for the next creep wave, and you push that one, and then you think the same question. It's like, I know I'm down here to clear these creep waves. Is there a play now? You know, it's like you just keep asking yourself the same question every single time you clear the creep wave. So that's the difference. Your decision to take this smoke gank and get a kill was a good one. Like, but now let's include not having 9 creeps pushing into our bottom tower. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I want to avoid, is this like 12 creep wave here. This is actually a massive fucking creep wave. Holy shit. That's a lot. What I want the enemy team to feel is Rubik dead, this wave is at their tower, and this wave's getting pushed, and this wave's now going to get pushed, and now they've just lost the entire map. But what's going to happen now is, since you guys got this kill, somebody on your team is going to go bottom. That's what's going to happen, because this wave did not get pushed. So, like, somebody, I'm guaranteeing in the next 20 seconds, somebody on your team TB's bottom. And if not, that tower just dies for free.
Dire should look to their bottom tower. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Okay, so I guess what you guys accepted is that
Caught up thing?
literally 19 creeps died to a tower. Oh, now you TP. Okay.
Tower has fallen.
I don't like that smoke, by the way. I don't think that's ever a good smoke if this is happening on the map. If you guys get this kill, what's your job? What's happening on the rest of the map? Okay. Okay. I'm just going to walk bottom. That's what I'm going to do. Because I see this. So, obviously, you could have prevented this in the first place. But we have to assume you're not going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You get a kill. Check the other 2 lanes. Go bottom. It's like, hey, you'd say something like, since you know you're walking away from top, you'd be like, hey, be careful top, Morphling. Yeah, I just don't like, I don't like seeing this and just having, this just makes me so sad. Oh, it makes me so sad.
A lot of money lost.
Yeah. But you end up going bottom. I mean, the thing is, nobody else in your game really notices it either, right? That's how you get out of these games, is by caring about this. Is there a particular reason why you're going Vessel, by the way?
I was doing it for the Pudge, but
I see.
he's really turning out not to be much of a factor.
Yeah, yeah,
And I want just a little bit of HP just to survive.
yeah, I would just rather you have, like, mana boots into an ether lens, and at that point you can go whatever. Like, I would just rather you have items that give you more mana to spam out the creep waves so that you're farming.
Yeah, especially once I start hiding in the trees more.
Yeah, if you're gonna, like, the fact is, the reason why your items aren't ideal, you're not gonna realize until you start playing the side lanes more like this, and then you're gonna run out of mana with these items. That's the difference. But it's like, the thing is, I see glimpses of greatness in your play, and then I see, you know, obviously we're flaming a lot of the other stuff, but yeah, it's like, you have the right idea about. I would say your biggest issue is monitoring the other 2 lanes when you're playing. It's like by far your biggest issue. It's probably, you could use all of your mental power that you have left over that you could possibly muster to check other lanes at any time you can. If you can do that, you'll slowly but surely fix all these problems, I think. Like, I don't think you're, based on what I'm seeing, it seems like you have a decent understanding of what's correct in the game. You just don't look. So you can't do the correct things. Like, some people, I feel like I have to teach them the correct thing. I feel like there's enough signs that you do the right thing in the game, that if you knew what was going on in the game, you would do it. That's what I'm seeing, at least.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Scanning for enemies. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
In general, your items should go in order of what you see here. So, if you're countering a hero, specifically, like if you have an item that's specifically countering an enemy hero, they need to be up here. Like, it needs to counter one of these guys. If you have an item that buffs a teammate, it needs to be one of these guys. If none of these guys are, like, you don't think your items need to address any of these heroes, then your item goes to yourself. That's support items in a nutshell. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a really simple and efficient way of explaining that and looking at. Yeah, that's honestly, I really like the way you just phrased that.
Yeah, so, like, when you said you built this for Pudge, it makes sense, right? That is the only hero on their team that is countered by Spirit Vessel, right? So, it's like, you gave me an answer that makes sense, but then this is a lot of a feels thing, you know?
It wasn't the most right. It wasn't the most correct answer. It was. I mean, it was a wrong answer. It just wasn't the best.
Well, no, what I'm saying is, if you said any other reason than, like, a specific hero with strength that you thought would be hard to kill, then I would have been like, well, you don't understand Spirit Vessel. That would have been, like, what I said. But, like, I understand you understand why you would buy this item, right? But it's like, now I'm telling you, that if you're buying an item for a specific hero, try to have a feel for who's on top here. You know, all of this feel will come with doing the lane checking and the game monitoring and like checking your scoreboard. You know, like you'll be like, oh, Pudge is literally the lowest level on their team. You know, like, you know, that's the kind of stuff where it goes a long way to just do the little maintenance. You know, it's just having a scoreboard hockey. Like, I don't even check this shit enough, but like, if you checked it like 2 or 3 times a game, it'd make a big difference. Let me just close my windows real quick. I'm getting chilly. Okay. So yeah, if you thought like, say you have a hero that, say they have like a Clockwork and your Luna's like super farmed and you're like, huh, he might just die to Clockwork. You know, that's how you know to buy a Force, because it's like, I would need to save my Luna because he's high net worth and he dies to Clock. That's an example of like support itemization.
Invisibility. Guess it's my shout.
But like, if your Luna's fucking useless anyway, then it might be better to like buy an item to keep yourself alive rather than the Luna.
Can't believe I missed that bushwhack.
Yeah. Miss every bushwhack you don't throw.
I'm mad I ran up so far in that. I will also say one thing I learned in this game that I just naively didn't know is when Disruptor's ult gets, I think it's his level 25 and expanded, what that extra ring looks like.
Yeah, I think I've maybe seen that one time. I mean, I think the biggest thing in this fight is it'd just be way easier if you had Netherlands.
Agree. I used to always make it, and I don't know why I started pulling out from doing it more.
Yeah, you'd just be like casting the spells from like here instead of right there. I mean, overall, it's like not terrible or anything. But yeah, you did like walk into the ult for a little bit too long. Okay, so you ward deep. I mean, these are good wards. You're definitely like.
Finally,
I mean,
some decent help
it's
around.
funny. All the people that come to me for coaching who are supports, they fucking ward and shit more than people in my games. Okay, so kill that guy. He's doing some crazy shit. He's gonna use our stuff to clear the wave. Okay, so now we need to kind of like. This is a situation where we're supposed to clear this wave, back off. We're supposed to like check this. Oh, that's a lot of creeps. Okay. This guy.
I think my thought here is time to start trying to get team ready for Roche.
Okay. That's fine. I think that's a reasonable thought. So you're going to deward this hill. Okay. Very cool. You're kind of all alone here though. Just gotta be like super careful. I almost always try to save one ward if it's nighttime, so I wouldn't have placed that ward. I would always want one ward.
That's one of the things I'm also trying to get just better at is as soon as an engagement starts, immediately dropping a sentry, or if I'm running uphill, immediately dropping an observer. It's not consistent at it, but it's just one of those things I know I need to get better at.
If you can make it so that at nighttime you have one ward, one sentry, and a smoke in your inventory, you will just be a better support player. That is just a very simple must-do.
Yeah.
Like, if you only have one ward, don't use it. Unless you plan to sit on it. Okay? Unless you literally plan to, like, plant the ward and sit there. That is the only way you use that ward.
I think your comment of focusing on that at nighttime is... yeah, where I need to. I didn't process that before, but it's.
I mean, wards for fights are important during day too, but I made that vision video. I don't know if you watched it, but the whole thing is that your smoke breaks before you see them at night. So if you ever smoke without a ward, it's like usually just run into a guy you don't see, and then there's no point. So it's especially important at night because smokes are 1100 break range, 1025, and your vision's 800, right? So. Yeah, don't really know what your team's doing down there, so you push some creeps. That's fine. Totally fine with what's going on. I would have even. I probably would have tried to. I probably would have tried to nuke one more wave here. I'd probably like walk back to this wave and nuke it again. Probably fuck up the fight a little bit. Okay, so you TP in late, clean up. Yeah, man, that's good. That's about as best you can do. That was really good.
I'm trying to celebrate.
Yeah, played the right part of the map. Not really sure what your team's doing. Cleaned up their deaths.
The Drow's being charged, so I didn't know if he was going to catch him, so followed him until about this point.
Unfortunately, you backpacked your spirit vessel. That's okay. Sure you realize it sometime. Yep, there it is. Okay. Yeah, it was definitely a ballsy D ward. Yeah, I mean that's just courageous. Yeah. To say the, make sure you swap that in when you're dead.
My waters rise.
Yeah, I feel like if I were you, I would just go fucking Aetherland's Maelstrom like 90% of your games. Like, I feel like that's what I would just do every single game, unless there's something else to buy. Like, unless you can identify a very specific item that you need, you should just go Aetherland's Maelstrom. Like, if you need a Force, or you need a Ghost Scepter, or you need a Spirit Vessel, like, you need these items. Like, there is a Timber Saw that is literally never going to die unless you buy a Spirit Vessel. You are going to die instantly to PA blinking on you if you don't buy a Ghost Scepter. It's like, unless you can say, I need this, then just buy these items. I feel like what's happening is you're not playing the map efficiently. Like, you're killing wards and you're doing, like, the macro part of, or, like the maintenance part of supporting correctly. But you're not pushing your limits on the map. You're not, like, going for that extra creep wave. You're not being, like, the pesky little squirrel in the trees on the side lanes being annoying. And so, like, you're not using as much mana as you should. You're not giving yourself the ability to have as much impact as you should. Like, it's just in these team fights, if you were playing the exact same team fight and you had Aetherland's Maelstrom, you would just do more individually. Like, individually, your hero would do more, right? So it's like, it may seem like I'm telling you to be very selfish, but it's like, unless you have a reason to be unselfish, then just don't. Don't be unselfish, you know? That's the thing about supporting is you do have to ask yourself, is there an item that I can do, that I can build for one of my teammates or against one of the enemy heroes that will make a drastic difference in the game? And if there is, you are supposed to buy it, right? You are supposed to buy that item. And the thing about Sheep is, like, it's nice and all, but honestly, you guys have, like, a ton of stuns. So, like, you have Spirit Breaker, even, like, Tiny Morphling has decent stuns. Like, you have a stun. What I'm basically seeing is you bought 0 items to help you play the map, and then you saved for a huge item. And then you're telling me, well, BSJ, I feel like I don't do much in the mid-game, and then I have this huge power spike. Well, yes, you spent 0 gold on playing the map, and then 6,000 gold on having impact. So the minute you hit that 6,000 gold, you have impact again. Does that, like, make sense to you why it results?
Yeah. So, and just quick, I mean, I'm trying to jump to the end of the line versus...
Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's literally I feel like I'm trying to skip steps 2 and 3, and it all still goes back to playing in the trees. Like, I push the lanes, but I don't push them. And it also goes to something else I've noticed when I look at my graphs at the end of every game and compare it. My deaths are significantly lower than all kind of averages in all brackets. And I think that also, I've been trying to figure out if I haven't been self-sacrificial enough as Hoodwink, but that also, I think to your point, ties into I have not been pushing the limits of pushing the side lanes in the trees, which inevitably I'll get caught, but if I get caught, I still bought all that time from Worf. I showed heroes. I bought time for tower weight. I mean, all the other good things that come with it. So that comment pieces together a few things I've noticed, but just couldn't explain myself.
Okay. Yes. So I don't think you're wrong there. So I'm just telling you, I want to drive this into your skull as hard as I have to, is the question of, am I done here? What am I doing here? And when am I done? So when you are here, all you're doing is pushing a creep wave, correct? Like that's
Yes.
what you're doing. That is like, you're not doing anything else. So if you see 3 of your teammates dead and 3 enemy heroes on the map, is that a sign that you are done here?
No.
No, you're not done here. So don't leave. Just wait for the next creep wave. It's
You know,
like
the other embarrassing part of this.
yeah.
Look at what item I have queued up that I electively.
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing is, it's like, you're probably, like, there can be all types of personal experiences in your games and, like, individual, like, interpretations that are causing you to do whatever you're doing. So I'm trying to, like, the thing is, it's similar in, like, working out and, like, anything that requires good form or anything like that. Like, people all do all kinds of shit, and sometimes you just don't realize how much random shit is, like, ruining your form. You know, it's just, like, ruining your efficiency, right? There's like so many, like there's so much oil in the cogs or whatever, like goo or whatever the analogy would be. So it's just like, what I'm saying is there's like so many random things, and all I need you to think about is when you're currently doing something, whether it's over or not, because you're very slow to leave when something's over, and you're very quick to give up on pushing a lane. Like you're not sticky about pushing lanes, and you're very quick, or you're very slow to like be like, okay, we're done here, let's go do something else. You know? So that's what it's going to take for you. If you can ask yourself what you're currently doing, and when something happens, ask, is it over or not? Then you will be way better. Like you'll just be so much better. It's not like that simple, right? It's going to take a little bit of time and effort to kind of like there's going to be times where you think it's over and then you're going to hesitate, or you don't think it's over and you're going to stick around and you're going to randomly die. Like it's going to happen, right? It's not going to be some like seamless transition, right? But like at this very moment in your future games, you're like, I'm pushing a creep wave. Am I done here? You know, like that's what you would ask yourself. And if you ask yourself that question,
I've got a giant Post-it note that says,
yep.
Is it over?
Yeah, is it over, man? That's like, and the thing is like, the sooner you recognize that, the cleaner your decision making is. It's like, when that tiny gets gone on by 4 heroes, if you don't recognize that it's over instantaneously, you're also going to feed. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of those situations where you have to react almost instantly to that happening to, like, get out, right? But, like, in this case, you actually have, like, 5-10 seconds because the next creep wave comes at, 30, 40. Like, 15 seconds from now is when that next creep wave comes. So, in these type of situations, especially since you're a hoodwink, you should just walk over here and deliberate. You know, just, like, your default should be to walk over here and kind of just, like, think about it. Be like, am I done here?
Yeah, for whatever reason, I instinctually kind of run away from catapults and just not to show on the map until it's time to last hit. And then that often also just leads me to backing up.
Yeah,
So
you already said it yourself. You're just overly conservative with the way you play. You're just overly conservative. Like, I'd rather you be pushing side lanes all game with an extra 3 deaths than what you're doing here. You know, I'd definitely rather that be the case. Because if you're doing that properly, most of the time when they kill you, it probably won't net anything. You also will probably just have buybacks, so like if you have to buy back, you would have it. So I mean, the fact that you like TP'd mid here and cleaned up, like all this stuff, like you're playing your own game, you know, like you're vibing. You know, you cleared some creep waves, you TP to a fight late. I mean, the thing is, if the thing is, like I would say you're playing the map like a carry to some extent, but like if nobody's playing the map like a carry, it's fine if you do it. You know. The thing is that when I say to anyone watching that you're playing the map like a carry, carry's jobs are usually to babysit the lanes. It's like to make sure the lanes look good, to make sure that the lanes are pushing our favor, that we're pushing the right lanes. And so certain carries just don't really do it that well. Like Ricky, for instance, is a carry that doesn't do this. So usually if I have like a Ricky carry on my team, I'll have to play the lanes a bit more. But then, like, if you also just have a carry player who's not doing it, you know, then any role can kind of take that over. You know, a lot of mid laners can go for like a boots of travel. Supports can just play side lanes a bit more. You know, somebody has to do this job. It's not actually delegated to just the carry. It is usually the carry who is supposed to do it, but it is a job that must be done. So if nobody's fucking doing it, then it's you. You know, anybody can do it. It's just usually suboptimal for it to not be the carry. But it's usually better for somebody to do it than nobody, right? So that's why we choose to think about it this way. So let's see. So yeah. Here, let's get to your other game. Because I feel like we've hammered this game out. I actually think what you did, I'm really impressed that your team was doing some random shit. You pushed this wave, showed up late, and got 2 kills. That's actually like, that's about the best you can do there. So that was nice to see. So in this game, I have no idea what Clock was doing with his spell usage. My Void wouldn't use his ult. The Spirit or Shaker would not initiate. I felt like we would constantly get caught out of position.
Yeah, this is one of those games where just everything was disheveled the whole times. Ults weren't. I mean, this is one of the everything just kind of went wrong.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's some games where
and it's fun going up against.
You know, just, go ahead.
Yeah, like the Rubik. I enjoy going up against kind of people a few higher ranks because I feel like I can tell what they're doing and it's fun to compete in that. And I think we had a good little battle top, but naively, one of my questions for you on this is, I think he, like right up here, you'll see I should have realized, I feel like you can tell a lot just by the runes. Like, I don't know what our clock does right here. Like, he stops us from getting the kill, and then this just kind of happens a bunch of times, and I don't adapt to him being, I'll say, whimsical with his cogs.
I mean, the guy leveled cogs. You know what that means?
Pray for
back.
me.
He's back. That's like that is a recognition that you just immediately have. It's like, okay, I don't trust this clockwork anymore. It's like,
so
I'm not going
to
I'm not going to jeopardize my positioning. I'm going to do what I think is correct. Like, if something he does fits into whatever I think is correct right now, I'm still going to do it. I'm not just like ignoring his existence, but like, I'm much less thinking about his hero anymore. I'm just thinking like, what's best for me at this point. Like, I immediately count him out. Like, people don't have to do much. I'm telling you, like, you don't need to even flame them. You just be like, oh, like, well, this clockwork has cogs. Like, that spell does literally nothing, so I don't help him level 1. So I'll harass this Rubik a little bit like I normally would. Maybe I'll poke the Slark, but anything that involves the clockwork, I'm not going to try. You know? That's, like, how I think about it. That's all you can do. Once again, I think it's nice that you want to take Bushwhack, but, like, I'm down to just, like, take this guy's range creeps, not because I hate him, but because he doesn't have any way to get them. I would probably look to use Acorn Shot to get a range creep or 2. That's something you can strongly consider, is just playing more for maximizing CS between the two of you, rather than like
question for you here real fast is, do you think it's better for me to try to delete the wave? In my opinion, and again, my thought is, I'm better to, in this lane, take farm from Slark than I am to give farm to the Clockwork. So I could either contest his pull or try to stop Slark from getting farm. Is that the right mindset for this?
So what's best for you here?
Take the hits, or get the creep experience, and so I can then get level 6 and start moving to other lanes.
Yeah, so you should kill these creeps as fast as possible and then go contest the small camp. Like, you should be... I wouldn't be spending any of my right clicks denying this melee creep. I'd be killing these as fast as possible, and then making sure I get it, obviously.
Yep.
And then I'd be walking over here already to get XP, rather than having to soak from this. And then, yeah, I'd let the wave go. I don't want to drag it with the Rubik chasing me.
Did not catch you littering, bro.
Okay, so I keep doing my camera perspective. Let's watch yours.
I think I'm body blocking camp.
Yeah, that's good if you did that.
That should help.
And like what's frustrating to me on this one is I thought we'd be poking at him, so I just wasted a lot of early gold on the Blightstone.
I mean, it's honestly not a big deal. It still helps you farm a little bit in the mid game, and like killing those big camp creeps, it helps you with that too. So it's not like the end of the world. I understand, but it's not like completely wasted. You can still use it.
Here, I thought that Rubik should die right there. I guess he doesn't have mana, but he did. He used Cogs right.
Is your clockwork required to be a part of that?
No.
I mean, no, I'm saying, like, for you to kill him, does your clockwork have to participate?
Yes.
Then
And to your point earlier.
you're just not listening. You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying, if it includes the clock, no expectations. It's
Yeah.
like, if this clockwork just surprises you and, like, goes on the Rubik that's out of position, it's like, okay, fuck it, kill the Rubik. You know what I mean? But it's like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, from wave 1, you could know to expect nothing from this guy. Like, people watching may say that's like such a pessimistic view, but it's actually worse for you to expect something from a guy who's not going to give you anything. Like, it's worse, right? You're going to play and think in a way where you're like, I'm thinking we should kill this Rubik. It's like, it just tilts you. It actually just tilts you. Like, I'm not saying you're right or wrong. It doesn't even matter. It's like, you're expecting something based on a guy that leveled Cogs and proved to you that you're like, what is he fucking doing? You know, level 1. You're like, what is this guy doing? It's like, like earlier, people were flaming my Naga build. I had a 30 death offlane Necro. I was like, guys, I had to build to try to solo win the game. I didn't have a team. I literally had a Necro feeding down lanes. I didn't have a team. Like, we have to play like a 4v5 stupid game. So, like, my items are not normal. You know, like, they're not what I would normally want to build, right? So it's like, if I don't trust my teammate because he's given me reason not to trust him, I'm not going to build items, and I'm not going to play or expect anything that relies on him. I'm just not, right? I just have to drop that, right? I have to not think about anything he's doing and vibe. I have to vibe on my own game. So, yeah. Same lesson. You'll have to put that one in a sticky note as well. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have bought a wand. Why? Because that means I plan to lane top.
Yeah.
You know? At the very least, at the very most, I might buy a stick, but I'm probably just rushing mana boots or buying some mana regen items. Like, I'd be buying boots and mana regen. Why? Because that's what my hero needs. Regardless of clock. My hero needs boots and mana regen to play its hero, right? So all my items would do that. Oops, I don't want next highlight. Okay.
Here, normally, yeah. I struggle with when to actually go middle for rune because here I wanted to kill his ward versus get the thing because I knew I was going for the rune. But I tell you, more often than not, what's crazy is the mid hero tends to run towards me, and we both end up at the same rune versus trying to secure them both. So I mean, I bet you.
Well, if your mid laner runs towards you, that's not bad. That's not bad. Because
don't you?
What?
Don't we want to split so that way we can secure the rune, or he goes one, I go to the other, and make
No,
sure we can do
no.
that?
Usually it's a 50-50 in the rune because what happens is if he goes by himself here and the enemy 4 did the same thing, what happens?
He dies.
Yeah, he dies to the enemy 4. So it's like you're securing that he gets this rune no matter what. That's what you're doing. So I would say he would have to be very confident for whatever reason to split with you. But he actually didn't go to the same rune as you and just died. So that's more likely to happen. Like, in an ideal world, yes, you'd want to split and cover both runes, but that's like the equivalent of farming 3 lanes. It's just very greedy to do that. Right? You're doing 2 separate things at once. You're splitting up your resources to get 2 separate things. So it's a greedy move. Doesn't mean it's objectively better. If you're not afraid of retaliation from the opponent, then yes, it is better. It's like if your mid is a level ahead and the opponent has half mana, half HP, and he could not contest either of you, then yes, it's better for him to split and cover both runes, right? Because then make sure all that matters is the opponent mid doesn't get one. But like in this case, that was not the case, right? Sky with the Mage was winning, so and actually killed him. So yeah, I would say most things of what you're thinking about, you're definitely thinking a bit too black and white. I mean, the fact that you went mid with a ward and a sentry, secured the rune, and placed a ward and a sentry, that is like, just like, can we take a second to appreciate that? That's very good. Okay? Like, that is insanely good. If the more often you can do that, you should do that every game, if possible. Okay? That was very good. You know, I got done flaming a lot of support players in my coaching sessions for never doing this. They just don't walk mid. They literally just never leave their lane. So the fact that you left your lane, went mid, checked rune, de-warded, and placed a ward, that's like, dude, we're happy about that, okay? I can't just flame you. That's very good. That's very good. Now, I want this wand to be a fucking windlace, so you can do that same thing, but with 20 extra movement speed. Because we knew we weren't laning with this clockwork very much. Okay, so I need to focus a little bit, so... Honestly, in this type of lane, you know, you made a little bit of a move on Rubik, and this is like a really good move, by the way. Like, to go bully the Rubik away, that's nice. Now the lane's in front of your tower, and your clockwork should be chilling. So I would actually be looking at other lanes right now. Because your clockwork's level 5, so he's not level 6 yet, and the lane's in front of his tower, and we just bullied the 4-5 position away. Right? All these things point to, our clockwork doesn't need us right now. Are you seeing that?
Yeah.
How all those things add up. And we're still under the impression that we want to be around this clockwork as little as possible. So if I have an excuse to leave, I'm out of here.
And there's a power rune showing.
Yeah, so
isn't noticed yet.
The thing is, I am reminding you that there is always something to do. Always. So if I'm able to recognize that my lane does not need me right now, go do something else. Because there is always something to do. Stack a camp, secure a rune, defend a tower, like counter gank. There's always something, man. Always. So the core understanding that is required is, do I currently have to do what I'm currently doing right now? So like you walking back top was good because you did your job mid. Right? Like you went there, you de-warded, picked up the rune, and left. Great. Now you walked top, you bullied the Rubik away, you made it so Clockwork should safely get a level 6. Now you're done here. Get out. You know, like go somewhere else. Go TP mid, go TP bottom, go walk for the top rune. You have options, you know? The point is there's like so many things you could do. That's all I need you to understand.
Yeah, and where I start to... at this stage, where I start to struggle a little bit is I kind of feel like, again, not saying it's right, that until I hit 6, my utility is a little less elsewhere on the map. So kind of just leech experience until I hit 6 is a pretty big priority for me right now.
It's generally better to let your cores get 6, and then they can go do things, or you can get a kill with them, and that will accelerate both of you. Generally, that's better. I would not worry about that and simply ask yourself if you're needed at any point, and if you're not, go somewhere else. That is the motto you should follow. I understand what you're saying, but it's just not the priority list that we want.
Not the most efficient.
Yes. It's just not optimal to stand somewhere that you are not needed in a game of Dota. And it is not because, you know, your hero needs it or not. It is because if you do this, random bad things are happening elsewhere. Just random bad things. You know, whatever this is, it's not good. Like, this guy's going to take damage on their tower or some shit. Like, maybe you could help him here. Like, maybe you could go bully this guy or, like, make the silencer feel safer. It's, like, all these things are options, you know? It's just that, yeah, that's the point, is that there's just something else probably bad going on. For some reason, you know, we talked about level 1, that, you know, Clockwork just let him do his thing. I just wouldn't have been here ever. But you've been here pretty much as long as you can. I would have looked to go bottom as soon as possible. Because Avoid Chrono and Legion Duel, like, that's like a very snowball-y lane. You know, one of those two guys are going to kill each other. Okay. This Clockwork's been sitting on no mana for the last 7 minutes. Yeah, you're just not needed here, and you're sitting here. Need you to walk towards mid. Just need you to walk somewhere. Just a whole lot of sitting, that's all. It's really nothing fancy.
Yeah, and my other incorrect thought, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you, just telling you what
I got you.
was in my head, is, you know, my ability to harass Slark pre-level 6 is best. After 6, I'm not going to be able to do much to him for a while.
I understand, but it's only really impactful if your Clockwork's doing anything. So, I'm telling you, minute 1, you could have predicted all of this. I'm telling you, and it's in the most, like, this is just objectively assessing the game as best as you can. It's just like, what the fuck, this guy level cogs, you know? Slark's probably gonna have a good lane. It's like, that's just gonna happen. It's like, I expect at minute 0, Slark's gonna probably be top 3 net worths, like, right now. Like,
I'm pretty sure
like,
my
that's...
ES and my Void are griefing each other, too.
I mean, it is what it is. The thing is, the second you left your lane, there was something better to do in the game. Like, yeah, this is like an extremely good version. You know, you guys got like 2 kills. But yeah, I just need you to leave your lane. Because your Clockwork is not helping you very much. Like, when you went top and solo bullied the Rubik, that's your hero. That was great. Now leave. You know? Fantastic.
Should have pulled the other wave. Or the other creep camp, the big creep camp.
So we got a kill.
I guess probably.
So it's 12 minutes, right? It's 12 minutes. We're not about pulling anymore. We got a kill. What do we do?
Circle back. Go do something.
Go somewhere else. Just go somewhere else. Like, that's it. Like, it's actually gonna save you, dude. It is gonna be your fucking salvation to just get a to like have your impact in the lane you're in, and then just go somewhere else. It's over now. Go somewhere else. How about we potentially save this silencer who's about to die? Like, if you don't constantly rotate efficiently, just random things like this are more likely to happen. This, I mean, I only know it because, like, we saw the replay. You could have done something about that. Like, is it your fault that he died solo? No, but, like, it's objectively better for you to kill that guy and then go towards mid than it is to do anything else.
Will you look at the shop real fast?
The shop?
I'm just curious if there's 3 smokes available or not, because I don't have one on me.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the question for? I'm curious.
Oh, I just should have it. Also, just looking at things and what I can afford, I should have a smoke in my inventory, so there's not 3, so they're always recharging.
Is that like a cat?
Now my son's downstairs.
Oh,
with the nanny. So
I
yes,
heard like a wah, so I didn't sound like a baby from a distance, but okay, let's see that. Hey, guess what? You walked mid and the same thing happened. You killed the guy. It's like, now go somewhere else. Okay, you're gonna go ward. Great, fantastic. You're gonna walk back. Gotta be careful about warding the same side of the map as Slark. But maybe people.
And I did it. I did it under vision, I think, too.
Yeah,
it just was stupid.
That was a very courageous ward. But now you go back.
I'll
to
go
mid.
with stupid.
And then you go bottom. And now you're done here. Okay, you left this time. Your boy died randomly. Doesn't feel like there's much you could probably done about that. I mean, my only issue is I just wish you bought mana boots. That's all. Because the only thing you're doing, I just want you to have more mana for. I understand the Force Staff. I understand why you built it, but I think mana boots is definitely a necessity on your hero.
Let's get started.
Like in this case, when your Clockwork's sitting under tower like this, like, let him have the creep wave, like, right? Just leave now. Just leave right now. Because you helped him defend against Slark. Slark's gone now. Now leave. Let him have this. Don't use mana to defend a creep wave that he's gonna defend. Okay? Like, you would walk back mid for that. You'd probably, like, auto-attack, stack this, and then walk to mid right now. Because there's a catapult here as well. I just don't like sitting here. I would have rather been around mid right now. You guys are like trying to gank an level 11 Slark. It's just not going to happen. I would have loved for you to be mid right now. There's much more likely to be positive action occurring here. Yeah, we're just kind of seeing it.
Yeah, I'm just slow.
Yep. You walked up there to defend the tower against Slark. That's why you were there.
Is it over? Yes.
Is it over? Now leave. I'm telling you, man, that is like all I need you to get from this session. Is what am I currently doing? When is it over?
I'll take that.
None of these extra, like, I need to soak XP. It's like, the thing is, if you're a hero that needs level 3 to roam, for instance, okay, like, whatever reason, and you're, like, 2 creeps off of level 3, it's like, sure, man, soak level 3 for 2 creep waves and then leave. Because that's, like, your own hero needs that, okay? But it's like, most heroes don't work like that necessarily. But, like, for whatever reason, if you need that 100 XP, it's like, go ahead and soak it and leave. People will tell me that all the time. There'll be, like, an Earth Spirit who says, like, I need level 2 before I leave, so he soaks it and then leaves. You know? Stuff like that happens, right? But we don't need level 6. You know, we don't... Like, none of the stuff, like, that we're waiting around for matters. It's like, what are we currently doing? Is it over? And I just need you to leave. But you're inconsistent about it. There's some times where I see glimmers of, like, walking around the map. You're much more active than my average 2K support coaching session. Okay, you're much more active. Like, so there's, like, I can tell that you're able to be active. Now we just need this to be that one question in your head. I think it's the only thing stopping you. Unfortunately, like, you were trying to be elusive there, but you're against Legion. And, I mean, you guys are just losing by 7K at 20 minutes.
The part about that last one, when I went back and rewatched this replay, that I'm disappointed in myself on is Legion and Witch Doctor were showing mid, and you saw them on the map run. I saw them on the map, and again, I'm really good at hindsight decisions, but you saw them kind of creeping down, and that just, I should have seen them.
I mean, I'm not even going to sugarcoat this, man. If you're farming the dead lane like this, as a ranged hero with ranged abilities, and you're in the middle of the creep wave, you're fucking nuts. I'm just telling you, like, you are fucking nuts. Like, no fucking squirrel pun intended. I need you to be clearing this fucking wave from here. Or here.
May not have been intended, but it was a good one.
Thank you. Yes, D's nuts.
Town structures are fortified.
Yeah, like, the fact that you're doing this is, like,
I'm
fucking insane. It is fucking insane. Like, let's be honest. Like, yeah, you're farming a very dangerous area when you guys are losing, and you're just, like, fucking, I'm gonna stand right in the middle of the creep waves. That was definitely very, very noob. So this is a game that it's going to be tough to keep up with because the opponent just has all kill heroes. Legion's a kill hero, Slark's a kill hero, Skywrath Mage mid is a kill hero. So if you're not constantly moving around the map here, you're just likely going to have teammates randomly die. That's just, like, very likely to happen.
Yeah, and what happened too is our ES who was our P5, just 100% quit buying wards. So I'm also switching between. I'm half in all sides, and so I'm half support, half P4, and I fail because of that. I just hit indecision mode and I fail at both.
Hey man, I'm just gonna tell you, like, we're about at the time limit for the coaching session, so I want to make sure we get the things that matter. Okay. And I'm just confirming, as you told me at the beginning, you're friends with the TA guy or somebody else?
Yeah.
Okay.
He what?
It's funny because you guys kind of sound similar, so it's interesting.
I love that you call him the TA guy.
Yeah, I just think of him as you have one job. What's my job? That shit's funny as fuck.
Dude, I immediately texted it to him, and he actually came up to visit me. He lives down in Texas and came up to visit me this past week, and I'm just telling you that got phrased a couple of times in our. No. It's part of our. You have one fucking job.
That makes me smile, man. Thank you. That's funny as fuck. What's my job?
All right.
But yeah, so
go ahead. You gave me good things to think about, and I think what I need to also in my head just accept or my homework is it over? Kind of leaving quicker, looping around, going back after something happens to help the next event happen in a simple way of saying. And then I also need to be more aggressive in, even if I get caught, pushing those side lanes out a little more to just help free up all the ripple effects of what happened. What happens
and if
after
you
that.
get caught, it should be how, like, did I do anything that made me get caught? Could I have been more conservative? Like, did I stand in the middle of the creep wave? You know, stuff like that. Like, I know I'm being sorry, kind of a douche, but it's like, you can ask yourself, could I have done this better?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's just like, there are times as like a hoodwink, if you're against like Storm or something, that if you try to just split push creep waves, you're just going to die off cooldown. And that's actually really bad. Right. But like, if you die, you should definitely ask yourself, like, did I do too many creep waves? Should I have waited for them to show? Should I have just not been here at all? If they bring 4 heroes and kill me, am I actually okay with that? Like, is this death worth it? You know, because there's plenty of deaths as a support that are worth it. You know, if they bring 3 or 4 heroes to kill you. You know, a lot of it is about what they get afterwards. So it's like, if they get a free Roshan because you died, then you should consider your life more valuable if you're near Roshan on the map. You know what I mean? That's like something you'll learn. It's like, if you die near your own tower, that's usually more detrimental than dying on the opponent's side of the map, because they're more likely to get like a tower off of it.
I'm 2K. I'm a 2K. We have to beg, push, scratch, crawl to get people to care about Roche at my MMR.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it a lot of times. Yeah.
Well, thanks for
understand.
everything.
Yeah, it's I've seen it a lot. Don't worry. But yeah, so if you get that one thing down, man, I think it's a big. I really do mean that you have glimpses of greatness in your play, like the fact that you're walking mid and dewarding, and like these random efficiencies with pulling camps and stuff. Like, I can tell you really do think about the game, so it's good to see. And if I think you're kind of similar to your friend, you get in your own head a little bit. So let's just get you asking yourself that question as much as you can, and see where it goes from there. I think there's a lot of possibilities there.
Thanks for your time.
No problem, dude. Any final questions?
No. See you again here soon.
Sweet, man. See you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye. That actually